Hello and happy Saturday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be listening. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is a Heartland Athletic Conference Division III matchup. Well, kind of. We'll get to that a little bit later. But again, this one's between the visiting Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes and the two-time defending state champion Southern Columbia area Tigers. And the Red Tornadoes take the field. And my name's Jimmy Lesko. I've got Dan Lesko beside me. We're in an open-air booth tonight. It's beautiful out here. We've got Jose Gonzalo on the sideline supporting us as always. And together we're coming to you live from Jim Roth Stadium at the seat of power in the PIAA Class 2A high school football in Pennsylvania, Lewisburg. Now, Dan, tonight, both teams, the Red Tornadoes who just took the field and the Tigers who are approaching now, they come in tonight's matchup 1-0 after posting fairly impressive shutouts, with the Red Tornadoes blanking the Central Columbia Blue Jays 23-0 on the road, and the Tigers keeping the Hammond Seahawks off the board 36-0. Now, that one against the Hammond Seahawks was an ESPN2 broadcasted trip to Hammond, South Carolina, and that's what has us watching the fifth meeting of these two teams. And as you can hear, the Tigers taking the field in front of their hometown here. But we're watching what is the fifth meeting of these two teams over the last 3 years. Southern's dominated that matchup. They've dominated all comers in this state and in interstate rivalries here over the last 5-10 years specifically. So if you're on the Mount Carmel sideline, and as we have a lot of our listeners are, you're not focused on the past tonight, Dan. You're not focused on the past. But if you are focused on the past, if you choose to go that route, you're looking at maybe October 2011 as a frame of reference.
Yeah, let me elaborate a bit on that, Jim. October 2011, last time the Red Tornadoes were able to defeat Southern Columbia Tigers. The last time the Southern Columbia Tigers lost the game in the regular season. And I myself actually had the privilege to be on that team that went on to win a district championship that year, go into the state playoffs. And it was great. The electricity in the stadium was unreal, as it was on the sideline in the pregame here as we go to the national anthem. As I said, Jim, you know, the Red Tornadoes, that 2011 team, that night that they were able to defeat the Southern Columbia Tigers was an electric night. The feeling in the stadium was unlike anything I had ever felt as a player before. And getting the chance to get down on that sideline and walk amongst the players in pregame today, I felt that same electricity.
You may have felt the same electricity, Dan, but we all know a lot's changed over the last 8 years.
Yes, it has.
And while it's not the best decision to do numbers radio. That can get a little dry at times. There's a couple, I think, that are worth mentioning here. So I want to start with number one. And that's number one in this case is number 4 for the Tigers, Julian Fleming. He's the number 1 wide receiver in the country. He's the number 1 overall recruit in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
We go from 1 to 2. Number 2, they're the 2-time defending state champions. Number 3 is the 3 Big Ten commits in Fleming going to Ohio State. We have Gage Garcia going to Michigan, and Cam Halliday going to Michigan State. Cal Halliday, excuse me. So there's our 3. I'm going to go from there. We can jump up a little further. How about 32? That's 32 straight victories for the Southern Columbia area Tigers, and that's anything. That's state playoffs. That's out of state. That's regular season, district playoffs, anything. We're going to take a pause here again for one moment.
Thank you. And as Don would want our
And as we go from there, again, we talked about 32. The next number, how about 1,000? That was the Tigers' second leading rusher last year in Gavin Garcia. How about 1,500? That's the number of receiving yards Fleming had last year. How about 2,000? That's the number that number 23 set last year, Gage Garcia, 2,000 plus yards rushing.
Unreal.
So Dan, with all that being said, what do the Red Tornadoes have to do to catch that same lightning in a bottle tonight that they had 8 years ago?
Well, Jim, that will bring me right into the Red Tornadoes' keys to the game. And the keys to the game for tonight are simple, but they're going to be big for the Red Tornadoes if they want to be able to pull off this upset victory. They need to start off with establishing the run. They cannot be one-dimensional. They need to have a run game to open up that over-the-top throw from quarterback Reisinger to Chapman, Widener, Burkowski, Wills, all the guys that can get outside and beat you deep. They also need to slow down the Southern Columbia run game. As you said, Gage Garcia, 2,000 plus yards last year. Gavin Garcia, 1,000 plus yards last year. Both of them are back on the field this year. So they need to slow down this run game. And to do that, if they're able to slow down the run game, they need to make Southern Columbia beat them through the air, which may not seem like such a tall task with the #1 receiver in the country, but if they can get pressure on not as seasoned quarterback Zachman, they may be able to force him into some mistakes.
And before we get to the Tigers, we'll take a quick break here. We just had the coin toss. The Red Tornadoes represented, as they will be all season, by Chapman, Troutman, Erb, and Wills. The Tigers represented by Zachman, Fleming, Garcia, and Halliday. The Tigers won the toss, elected to defer. They'll defend the south end zone while the Red Tornadoes will receive.
All right, and for the Southern Columbia, what they need to do, since they're going to go on defense first, we'll touch on what they need to do defensively first. They need to make Mount Carmel one-dimensional. As I said, Mount Carmel cannot become one-dimensional. That's what Southern needs to force them into. They need to either stomp out their run game and force them to make throws into, third and long situations where they're forced to throw the ball, or just take out their pass game and force them to run it up the middle into that tough linebacking core. They also need to put the ball in the air. Southern needs to be able to get things going, get the ball to Fleming. Fleming only had 3 receptions last game for 20 yards. So he needs to get the ball. And you got to use Zachman as a dual threat. Zachman was the 3rd leading rusher on the team last week with, I believe it was 61 yards on 4 carries, correct?
And a touchdown.
And a touchdown. So they need to continue to use him as a dual threat and get him moving in the air and on the ground.
We're about to get started here. We'll keep track, that is, of Dan's keys to the game throughout the night. Number 48, Ethan Haupt, he's doing the kicking for the Tigers. You'll see him all night. For the Red Tornadoes, it's Burkowski and Widener back deep, 28-10, and we are underway here. The kick, it's deep to Widener. Widener's going to catch it over his shoulder at the 5. He's across the 10, the 15. He's got a little seam. He had some space. He's out to the 23-yard line, where he's brought down by number 32, Tyrone Armo, and we'll talk about him a lot tonight, Dan.
Yeah, we'll definitely see a lot of Tyrone Armo on the offensive side of the ball. Don't really think of him as much of a special teams guy, because you usually see him carrying the ball into the end zone a lot of the time, but getting down there on the kickoff team, these guys are all dual threats, offensively, defensively, special teams on both sides of the ball. Great athletes.
Red Tornadoes take over 1st and 10 on their own 24. This is that smash mouth spread we talked about. Reisinger's in the gun. He's got 2 receivers split to his left, 2 to his right, and he's going to hand it. Nope, it's a play action. He's going to throw the out route. It's a deep one to Chapman for a gain of around 6 yards.
And Jim, I think that's the thing that Chapman has on Fleming. Fleming's got a little bit of height on him. Chapman's a little bit thicker. He can do a quick little hitch route, just kind of turn around, block him out, and get that ball right in his stomach there.
Yep, gain of 5 on a long throw from one hash to the next. But the Red Tornadoes are back up. Hard count out of Reisinger to get the defense to take a little look. Now he's looking back to the sideline for a count. Reisinger barking orders, scanning the defense. He takes the snap, and he's going to go straight back. The rush is on. He's rolling out to his right. He's in trouble. He does a great job of eluding the rush. He throws it at the feet of Zachman, incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd and 5 for Mount Carmel from the 29.
As you said, Reisinger did a great job eluding the rush there, and he unfortunately was not able to deliver that throw on the money as he was at full speed running towards the Southern Columbia sideline, but able to not force anything downfield or lob it up in the air and cause a turnover, live to play another down.
Yeah, so for the Red Tornadoes, they've got Chapman and Pupo left, Wills and Burkowski to the right. Reisinger's in that gun. He's got Widener as a personal protector to his right. He takes a snap and he looks across the field again for Burkowski, and he had him, but just a little off the mark. It'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, it looked like their timing was off just a tad bit there, Jim. Looked like Reisinger, that's one of those rhythm throws. It's 2 steps and get it out, and Burkowski just maybe a little slow out of his route, and wasn't able to get his eyes on the ball at the right time there to get his hands on it.
Chapman will be punting for the Red Tornadoes. Looks like Fleming and Garcia back deep for the Tigers. Now Chapman averaged about 42 yards a punt last week, and this is a short one. This is going to be off the side of his foot. It'll get a nice, had a Red Tornado bounce, but the Tigers are going to start in Mount Carmel territory. There'll be no return on that one. It'll be 1st and 10 from the Red Tornado 49 for the Tigers with 10:57 left in the first quarter.
And Chapman looks like he's shaking his head a little bit there. Looks like he came off the side of his foot. I believe that they're probably telling Chapman when he's punting the ball to not punt it to these dangerous Southern Columbia returners, but that's not what he wanted. And as you said, the Tigers starting in plus territory here to start the game.
So Zachman will come out. He'll be under center. He's got Gage Garcia behind him. Sorry, that's Rodarmel behind him. Garcias are in the wings. Fleming to the left. And Zachman goes back. He's looking at one guy, and it's Fleming. And Fleming caught across the middle. He's got some space. He's across the 40. Now he's moving. He's down the sideline. He's going to be chucked out of bounds by number 28, Shane Widener, but not before he gets down to the 21-yard line for a gain of 28.
And you see there, Jim, they ran a little pick play and sort of an over-under route there. Garcia went on a deep post route. Fleming came underneath. Garcia with the deep route pulled those linebackers back, opened up that inside. That's what they need to do. They need to create space for Fleming to do that.
Tigers back on the ball. This time there'll be 2 in the backfield. Looks like Gavin and Rodarmel. They'll give it to Gavin behind Rodarmel. Gavin's working hard to get to the outside, and he can't get there. Reed Witkowski was not the first on the scene, but he's going to be the one that finishes that off. Gain of 2 for Garcia.
Yeah, it looked like Witkowski and Mikowski there stacking him up and driving him backwards after, as you said, after a short gain there for Garcia. Did a good job of picking anything up there. It didn't look like there was much there, but Red Tornadoes, good job of rallying to the ball.
It'll be the Tigers' first trip inside the red zone here. Again, Zachman under center. He has Gage and Rodarmel behind him. Gavin in the wing, and it's going to be a handoff to Gage to the right side. And he tries to cut back against the grain. He does a nice job finding a seam to get to the 16, so a gain of 3. Bringing up 3rd and 5.
Did do a very nice job, as you said, kind of finding that seam and kind of wiggling his way in there. Chapman does a great job. Looked like Chapman got caught inside there for a second, was able to recover and put a big hit on Garcia there to keep it to a short game.
And if it sounds a little familiar, we're going to talk about Gage and Gavin as opposed to Garcia and Garcia to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah, that'll make it a little easier.
So Fleming split out by himself out here to the left. He's got Belichick. It looks like Belichick might have help over the top. Zachman's going to drop back, and this is what Dan was talking about. It's a QB boot to the left. Fleming doing a great job getting blocks down the field. Zachman's inside the 5, down to the 2 for a big first down.
And Jim, as you said, that's exactly what I talked about. Zachman has that ability. He's got that ability to get out there. And as you see, I think I've touched on it last year. The #1 receiver in the country out in front has no problem getting out in front and blocking for his teammates. You got to respect that. But as you said, Zachman using his legs to create some plays.
Yeah, and Fleming's going to come out now as the Tigers are going to go tight. So all 3 in the backfield, Rodarmel and both Garcias are behind Zachman. Zachman turns around and he hands it to Gage, and Gage is in for a 2-yard plunge. And with 9:21 left here in the first quarter, the Tigers draw first blood and are on top of the Red Tornadoes, 6-0.
Yeah, and that's, as you said, that's a quick score there for the Tigers, and a tough one for the Red Tornadoes. As you said, the Tigers were able to start in plus territory, huge gain on the first play, and then just a short little set of downs there to get him into the end zone.
Yeah, and Haupt drives the extra point through. That's going to make it 7-0 Tigers.
Yeah, Jim, so we're going to have to see how the Red Tornadoes can answer. You know, this is one thing we haven't, now, grant you, it's only game 2, it's only week 2, but we have not seen the Red Tornadoes play from behind. As you said, with the shutout win last week, this is the first time they've given up points to start the game. So we'll see how they answer.
Yeah, Dan, this is something that we had talked about. We had talked about on the way over. Really, as we explore this game and kind of look at it from both sidelines.
Yeah.
The Tigers, again, and I think Coach Roth had said as much in some of the interviews that he gave this week. The Tigers are facing the team that's given them the most trouble across state lines at this point for the last few years.
Absolutely.
And it's been up through the first half, really, is where Mount Carmel has been able to hang tough. So the Tigers, if they wanted to set a tone and try to say, hey, this is going to be different than the last couple, the way they did that was get out in front early. And so far, so good.
Yeah, that's definitely how you do it.
So Haupt on to kick off. Again, it's a nice deep kick. Widener's going to take this, and he drops it at the 7. He picks it back up, and he's trying to pick his way. He's going to get to the outside, but he'll get across the 20. He's dragged down right at the 21-yard line. So that's where the Red Tornadoes will start their first drive of the season while trailing.
Yeah, as you said, first drive of the season while trailing, but we will see. As I said, that electricity I felt on the sideline, these Red Tornadoes are going to go quietly. I see a lot of fire in these guys.
So we'll see what the Red Tornadoes do here. Now we're going to see Daukus in there. Daukus is in that slot position. The Red Tornadoes had opted to go 4 wide in the first drive. They're twins to the right, a single receiver to the left. Reisinger's going to hand it to Widener, and Widener's dragged down in the backfield very quickly by number 28, Cal Halliday.
Yeah, 28, Cal Halliday, and you saw the next one in there to kind of clean it up there, Tillett. that tandem at linebacker, 28 and 8, we're going to call those numbers and those names out a lot.
Reisinger looks to the sideline. He signals to Chapman. Hard count, and he's back looking for another signal. Again, that's Wills and Burkowski to the right, Chapman to the left. Chapman's one-on-one on Fleming. Chapman's going to win most one-on-one matchups. The one with Fleming is a little more even-keeled, we'll call it, Dan. This time, Reisinger, he had Burkowski. It's incomplete, so the Red Tornadoes look to run a quick slant, had the play, and Burkowski can't hang on.
Yeah, as you saw, it did look like the Red Tornadoes attempting to get a little pick route there to the speedster Burkowski on the outside, where Wills with a little quick out to almost kind of bump that defender. But as you said, Burkowski not able to haul it in here and puts us in. As we said, this is what the Red Tornadoes needed to avoid, a 3rd and long.
Yeah, behind the sticks here, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, that is. Reisinger back to the 4 wide. He sends Widener in motion to his right. He looks to his right, but then he throws it back to his left. It's a similar play to Burkowski. Sorry, to Pupo, but he took a big shot. That's Nate Crowell out there, and that hit him behind the line of scrimmage. You'll lose 2 more. It's going to be 4th and 14.
Yeah, it looked like a little quick screen there to Pupo. But Kroll had that snuffed out.
So we'll see how Chapman handles his second punt of the night. Again, the first one, a little short. This is a good snap. It's a nicer punt. It's in the direction of Fleming. Fleming takes it at the 46, and he's got the sideline, and he's got a lot of room. He's got a couple defenders in front of him. He's inside the 20. Now he's just got to beat Chapman, and Chapman does just enough to force him out of bounds at the 4-yard line. What a return by number 4, Julian Fleming.
Yeah, as you said, Jim, this is what they needed to avoid. Chapman just enough to get him out of bounds, and just enough to save a touchdown. That's as I said, they probably wanted to kick away from those guys. Chapman got a little bit more on that one, but unfortunately into the waiting hands of Julian Fleming.
You had Fleming on the sideline again, which seems to indicate the Tigers are going to go big, which they are. Gage and Gavin are in the wings of the wing team. This is what we've always seen out of the Jim Roth team. Road Armels behind. Gage comes across, and they hand it to him in that inside Sally play. Gavin, that is, he puts his head down, and he's in. That's a 4-yard plunge this time, and the Tigers are rolling here, 13-0.
And Jim, after watching the film of last week's game from the Tigers against the Hammond Seahawks, I think I mentioned this to you. It looked like over the offseason, Gavin the younger of the Garcias, bulked up a little bit and is able to kind of muscle up and put his shoulder down to get in there.
And Haub's kick is up, and it's good again. And again, 7:42 left here in the opening quarter, and the Tigers jumped out quickly, 14-0.
So now this Jim, is where you see where Mount Carmel's heart is at. You know, you see where they're at, how they feel, how they react to this adversity. You know what I mean? That's the mark of a good football team, is not quitting in the face of adversity. We'll see where their heart's at.
Haupt again on for the kicking. The Red Tornadoes will send Widener and Burkowski back yet again. See, again, we've seen the Red Tornadoes get a spark over the years from special teams.
Yes.
Pupo had a nice return last week again as well.
Yep.
That was, I believe, the harbinger, if you will, of the first of the Red Tornado touchdown. It was that inciting incident.
Yep.
So we'll see the Red Tornadoes look to find some of that spark here, as they're certainly in need of something to keep this one from getting out of hand too early. So Haupt's kick is deep, and this is going to be to Widener again at the 8, fielded cleanly this time. He's going to go right up the middle. He's looking for something. And there's a little space there, but not much. It'll be the Red Tornadoes' best starting position of the night, 1st and 10 at the 27-yard line.
So again, we'll see what the Red Tornadoes are made of here. We'll really see who's got the grit and the kind of the grind to work through this tough spot that they're in. You know what I mean? They need stops on defense, but first they need to get a score back on offense.
Again, the Red Tornadoes are coming out wide open. That's Chapman and Pupo to the left. This is Troutman and Burkowski to the right. Reisinger's in the gun. He has Widener to his left. He scans the defense. He takes a snap, and he's going to keep it himself, and he tries to roll out to his left, but he's dragged down by number 28, Cal Halliday.
Yeah, Cal Halliday. It looks like Coach Roth, and I believe he did this last year with Halliday and Tillett. Those guys kind of have free reign. Just if you see a gap, they're almost like running backs on the defensive side. If they see a gap, they're able to hit it, and that's how plays like that happen. They end up in the backfield a lot.
Has a loss of 6 for the Red Tornadoes, 2nd and 16 from their own 24. And that'll be the first break the Red Tornadoes catch tonight. A hard count out of Reisinger is going to get a Tiger defender to jump. So the Red Tornadoes will get 5 of those 6 back. It'll bring up 2nd and 11 from the 28.
And sometimes, Jim, that's all that you need. You need some sort of thing to break your way to kind of get the ball rolling.
Again, 4 wide for the Red Tornadoes. Reisinger looking to his left, looking to his sideline for the play call. He'll come back and scan the defense. Widener's going to switch from the left side to the right. Reisinger overlooks the defense. He sends Widener in motion. He takes a snap, and they're going to get it out to him on a swing pass. And Widener had a little bit of room, but a great job out there by Zachman and number 10, that is, for the Tigers. Number 10, Jake Davis, getting off their blocks and stopping Widener before he can get started.
And that was something that you don't see a whole lot. You see a lot of the times you see defenders taking on blockers and choosing a side. Both Zachman and Davis just pressed their defenders and waited for Widener to pick a side.
3rd and 9 for Mount Carmel. Again, a hard count out of Reisinger. We'll see this most likely all night. You try to get a tell from the defense which direction they're going to go.
Yeah.
So Reisinger back up on the line. Again, 4 wide. He sends Widener in motion to the wide side of the field. And Reisinger's under all kinds of pressure. He throws it in the direction of nobody in particular. And that's going to bring up another 4th down for the Red Tornadoes.
And as you said, Jim, after that little hard count, you saw Cal Halliday and Tillett both looking like they were about to blitz up the middle there. And they did. And as you said, gave Reisinger, again, no time to really even scan the field to make a decent throw.
And again, Chapman, we talked about it. He's a terrific punter. He did a great job last season. He's doing a great job this year as well. And this time he's just going to punt it away from everybody, and I can't say I blame him. We'll wait and see where they're going to mark that out of bounds. It looks like it'll be at the... Oh, the official continues to walk. My goodness. He's going to go all the way up to the 46-yard line of the Tigers. So while this will be the first drive they start in their own territory, it's not by much, but we do have a late flag on the play. Very late. That was after the official had walked off the punt, Dan.
Yeah, yes, it was.
So we'll wait and see. And the Tigers walking towards their own end zone, seemingly understanding that this one is on them. That's what it's going to be. It'll be a personal unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Tigers. That'll cost them 15 and push it back to the 31.
So again, Jim, another break for the Red Tornadoes. They need to see if they can make something out of this. Force the Tigers to put together a drive. You know, one big play and then just finishing it off down in the end zone is not what the Red Tornadoes need. They need to force them into a drive and make it tough.
Yeah, through the first 2 drives, they have 53 yards and 14 points.
Yeah, that's not what the Red Tornadoes need. They need, now that they've got a little bit more field to work with behind them, we'll see if they can stop.
And so the Tigers come out. It's pretty close to the wing tee that they always run, with the exception of, you know, the #1 wide receiver in the country split out wide right, and Zachman's looking for him. He's going to throw. There's 2 receivers in the middle of the field, but he missed them both. It was Fleming and Gavin Garcia, but Zachman overthrew them.
Yeah, it did look as though maybe they were both running deep post, or somebody got their signals crossed up and they both ended up in the same area. But as you said, Zachman just kind of throwing it up there. He's able to do that when you have, as you said, the #1 wide receiver in the country.
Well, we talked about this a little bit pregame, Dan. Zachman was 4 for 14 for, I think, 15 or 19 yards last week. So Coach Roth is doing everything he can to get his quarterback and his receiver on the same page. He'll feed him early and often, I think, and we're back in the wing, and he's going to throw again, and this time it's Fleming, and Fleming makes a great catch, and he makes 2 guys miss before coughing up the football, but he did get back on top of it, so that'll bring up 3rd, and see where they said the fumble occurred. Bring up 3rd and about 4 for the Tigers, with 5:28 and counting left in the first quarter, where the Tigers are on top of the visiting Red Tornadoes, 14-0.
Yeah, as you said, that's what makes him, you know, you see a catch like that, and that shows you that's why he's the #1 receiver in the country. Those hands are incredible. It's unbelievable he was able to reel that in.
So Zachman under center, wing T formation with Ronald Armo and the Garcias. He's going to roll out to his left. He's trying, and he's not going to get anywhere. The Red Tornadoes do a great job of sniffing that one out. A lot of white jerseys over there. It was never in doubt. And we're going to get to see Fleming punt for the first time tonight, as it brings up 4th and 5.
Which is, as amazing as his catching ability is, we got a chance to see him punt in pregame, and we saw him get off some 60-yard punts, which is unbelievable. So, as you can see, our Red Tornado returners back way deep for this punt.
It's a good snap and nice punt. It's going to be Burkowski and he's going to go through his hands. He grabs it on a bounce at the 19. He makes a nice move, and now there's a lot of hitting going on down there. That is a hard-fought game. There's going to be a foul on the Red Tornadoes, first of all, for a block in the back that kind of sprung Burkowski, and then he took a shot from Crowell on his way out of bounds. So this is a hard-hitting game, as we expected.
Yeah, and I believe that, you know, as we get a break here to get these penalties sorted out, I believe this is something that really had an effect on the Hammond Seahawks last week, going down to South Carolina. This is Coal Region smash mouth football. This is why Mount Carmel is normally the only team that gives Southern Columbia fits, because they play the same type of football.
Yeah, we'll see that a block in the back against the Red Tornadoes, and then an unsportsmanlike against the Tigers. So we'll see how this all sorts itself out. But yeah, Dan, you talked about that hard-hitting, that hard-nosed football in this area, and I think it makes me laugh because Coach Dara, you hear about it at all levels. Everybody runs the spread offense, right? The Big 12 in college, for instance, they get a bad rap about that for being soft and all this kind of stuff. Coach Dara's smash mouth. Coach Dara's spread offense is the smash mouth spread.
Right, which is extremely fitting for this area, as you said.
So they're going to walk off the block against the Red Tornadoes first, and then they'll walk off the personal foul against the Tigers. So Mount Carmel is going to start at their own 28-yard line, and again trailing 14-0 with 4:22 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Jim, now that's 2 15-yard penalties on the Tigers. One of them started the drive, which ended in a punt. So now hopefully this one starts in a drive which ends in a Red Tornado touchdown.
That's what the Red Tornadoes will be looking for here. They got a little life for the first time tonight. So Reisinger's going to take the snap, and he rolls to his right. He's under pressure. He's going to keep moving, and he floats it in the direction of Burkowski, and it's incomplete. Max Tillett providing all the pressure Reisinger could handle on that one.
Yeah, Max Tillett coming in hot there, and Jake Davis in very good coverage on Burkowski there. As you said, it looked like Reisinger kind of floated up there, hoping Burkowski could kind of get behind and get to that ball, but just a little overthrown. And as I said, Jake Davis all over Burkowski.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Reisinger last week and his evolution as a quarterback, and we're seeing that again tonight, Dan. His ability to move the pocket, keep his head downfield, and try to make the right throw in every situation.
Yeah, he continues to evolve even into this week.
And here he's got two receivers to his right, Chapman only to the left. This time they're going to hand it to Widener, and Widener's got nowhere to go. Does everything he can, but he's going to lose a yard. Bring up 3rd and 11 from the 27-yard line.
Number 8, Max Tillett on the tackle there again. As you said, Tillett and Halliday, we're going to be saying those names multiple times when this Southern Columbia defense is on the field. And again, Mount Carmel in the territory that they do not want to be in, 3rd and 11.
Wills and Burkowski split out to the right. It looks to be Chapman and Pupo to the left. Reisinger's in the shotgun. He has Widener to his right. Reisinger comes up to the line. He'll take the snap, and he's going to go straight back. And he's under all kinds of pressure, and he's just going to go down. And that's Max Tillett, I believe, is the first on site. So, again, we knew we'd talk about these guys, and we certainly are. It's going to bring up another Red Tornado 4th down.
Yeah, Jim, again, I know from the outside looking in, that's just, you know, a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and that's Reisinger getting sacked to bring up a 4th down. But, again, that's the evolution of Reisinger. You know, he's not trying to just take that snap and throw the ball downfield and maybe cause a turnover.
Chapman on to punt again. This is a nice punt. He punts it left, way out of bounds. But again, away from Garcia and Fleming. And this is going to be a tough spot, I think, all the way in the Red Tornado offense, all the way in the Red Tornado territory. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Tigers from the 45 with 2:53 left in the first quarter and a 14-0 lead for those Tigers.
Yeah, Jim, as you said, another tough spot for the Red Tornadoes on that punt. It looked like the ball bounced maybe a yard out of bounds, and he walked off probably 6 or 7 yards up the field to, again, is another drive for the Southern Columbia Tigers starting in Red Tornado territory.
So we'll see what the Tigers dial up here. It looks to be Garcia and Rhode Armel in the backfield. Fleming split out to the left. Zachman wants to throw. He's under pressure. Wills does a great job beating his man and dragging him down behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2. We bring up 2nd and 12.
Yeah, and you got to give credit. Wills is going to get credit for the sack. You got to give credit to Dalkus as well. Both defensive ends getting in there and applying a ton of pressure, forcing Zachman to step up in the pocket. Unfortunately for Dalkus, Gage Garcia was there to pick him up. Wills was able to get the sack on the play, but credit to both defensive ends for applying the pressure.
Tigers back up on the ball. Gage Garcia in the wing to the left. Gavin and Rhode Armel in the backfield. Fleming split out to the right. Zachman going to go straight back, and he's under pressure again. He flips it out to Gage Garcia behind the line of scrimmage. It's incomplete. Sorry, that was Gavin. Wikoski was there the whole way anyway. It'll bring up 3rd and 11.
Yeah, it looked like a little screen play they were trying to set up there. I saw them try and run this play last week against Hammond, and it kind of had the same result. Zachman was under a whole lot of pressure and really wasn't able to get off a good throw. And as you said, the Red Tornadoes did a great job reading that play and had it snuffed out from the beginning.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of getting after the quarterback, and given how short the Tigers' touchdown drives have been, Mount Carmel hasn't really been getting gashed as of yet. And they're holding up pretty well. This is a pistol formation for Zachman. He's going to go straight back, and he's looking in one direction and one direction only. That's for Fleming, and Fleming's going to go through his hands. So Fleming got himself open, tried to catch it over his shoulder, and it kind of went right through the wickets.
Yeah, and that's a very difficult play for anybody. That's one of those plays that NFL wide receivers, they do drills for that. You know, they can't see the ball until it's almost in their hands. That's what Fleming had to do there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to pull it in, but that, as you said, that's what Fleming brings to your offense. you got that ability to kind of just throw it up there and ask him to go get it.
So just under 2 minutes, 1:59 left. The Tigers are going to punt for the second time already this quarter. Fleming, he's going to kick that one sky high. He's going to take a beautiful Tiger bounce at the 22, and it's going to get about 11 yards of roll, make that 13 yards of roll. It'll go inside the 10. So once again, the Red Tornadoes, while the defense holds up there into the bargain, the offense is going to start in the shadow of their own goalpost at the 9-yard line.
Yeah, and this is where the Red Tornadoes need to almost, I shouldn't say play conservative, but they need to just make sure that this is a bad spot to try and force anything. Make sure you hold the ball tight. Don't throw any picks. If you got to get to fourth down and punt it, get the ball out of there.
Chapman on the split to the short side of the field. Fleming's going to shadow him all night as Fleming's now come to the other side of the football field. Reisinger's in the gun. He has Daukus in the H slot, that slot position that we were used to seeing him in. Widener to his left. Again, Reisinger hard count. No movement from the Tigers. They'll reset with another play call. And this time he's going to hand it to Widener. And Widener does a nice job to make somebody miss, and he's going to get just over the 10-yard line to the 11. So, Dan, that's where we are for the Red Tornadoes. It's a great job by by Widener for a gain of 2.
Yeah, and unfortunately at this point in the game, that's what you kind of got to take. But as we said, if you get 2 yards here, 4 yards here, that's how you start a drive. You know what I mean? First we need to do is get a first down. Then we worry about the rest.
Reisinger up to the line, talking it through with his team. He's in shotgun. He sends Daukus in motion to the left side. This time he takes a snap and he rolls to his left. He throws it to Wills, and Wills does a nice job catching it, but a great tackle made out there by 24 Cade Lynn before Wills could get around him. So it'll pick up about 3, bring up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, Cade Lynn does a great job. That is such a difficult route to cover. Wills runs it perfectly, is able to kind of, Reisinger throws it perfectly, gets it outside to Wills, and as Wills tries to cut it up, that's really all you can do as a defender is just let them catch it and make that tackle.
And it's well designed, well executed, and that's exactly what happens. You get in a situation where all you hope is your guy can make somebody miss.
Right.
And these Tigers, they don't miss many tackles, Dan. Reisinger on 3rd and 4. He's under all kinds of pressure. He tries to step on the pocket. He flips it out to Chapman, who's going to catch it right around the line of scrimmage. He's thrown out hard. There's a flag on the play. Dan, there's a lot going on over there. That was intense.
Yeah, that was Reisinger under a ton of pressure and somewhat limping off the field, which is not a great sign for the Red Tornadoes, but we'll get back to that. Let's sort out this flag situation here. I'm not sure if there was a push-off by Chapman maybe to get himself free from Fleming.
I'm trying to understand that. It was against Chapman. The Tigers are going to decline that again, as Chapman didn't pick up any yardage. So it'll be 4th, rather than give the Red Tornadoes another opportunity, it'll be 4th and 4, and they'll be punting this one away. Again, 24 seconds left here in the first quarter. The Red Tornadoes down 14-0, punting from their own. Well, they'll snap it at the 14. Chapman's standing right at the 1, punting to Fleming and Garcia. So we'll see what Chapman decides here. He's avoided them the last 2 punts, and I can't say I blame him. It's a good snap, and he gets a nice end-over-end punt off in the direction of Fleming. It's going to bounce and just die at the 42-yard line. No luck for the Red Tornadoes on the turf. But with 15 seconds left, the Tigers will yet again start in Red Tornado territory at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, and as you said there, Jim, a very nice snap. And when you're backed up, you know, on standing on your goal line, on your 1-yard line, that's what you need. And I don't think a lot of people kind of overlook that stuff, but Damon Daukus with a beautiful snap there, because a snap that goes awry could end in 6 points very quickly.
So the Red Tornadoes come out on defense. The Tigers in their wing T formation. Zachman turns and he gives it to the up man, who's Road Armel, and Road Armel does a nice job. He's inside the 40 all the way down to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that was, I believe that was Road Armel's first tackle.
But that's going to be the end of the first quarter, where the Red Tornadoes find themselves on the wrong end of a 14-0 scoreboard. The Tigers on top, courtesy of touchdown runs by the Garcia brothers. A 2-yard plunge by Gage was first, followed by a 4-yard by Gavin. But Dan, tonight we've talked a lot already about the kind of bounces that you kind of see off this turf. And so the turf is beautiful here. It's a beautiful facility. And what we're seeing in Mount Carmel is a turf project as well. In the spring of 2019, the Mount Carmel Area School District launched an unprecedented 3-year fundraising initiative to raise $1 million to restore and update Mount Carmel area's famed Silver Bowl Stadium. The main fundraising effort will go towards the installation of a new all-weather field. The goal of the district is for various sports to have the ability to compete and practice at the Silver Bowl facility. These sports and activities include football, varsity JV and midget football, soccer, track and field, and marching band programs, but also provide a health and fitness asset to all sports within the Mount Carmel Area School District. And this will include students of all ages, so it's a great opportunity. If you're interested in assisting and donating, please contact the Mount Carmel Area High School office at 570-339-1500.
All right, Jim. As I said there, I need to make a correction. It was Rhode Armor's first carry of the game, and I think it almost caught the Red Tornadoes defense off guard because they've been doing so many play action.
So the first play of the third quarter is a short pitch to Gage Garcia, and he's got the sideline. Widener does a nice job of coming up and chopping him down just enough so they can finish it. But it'll be a first down inside the 30. First and 10 Tigers at the 27-yard line.
Yeah, as you said, Widener does a really good job of kind of staying at home on the outside. They're not letting Gage get out around him and slowing him up enough for Wills to come and clean that tackle up. But this is where we're kind of seeing that run game for the Tigers. You're not going to stop it completely. You just need to slow it down.
Zachman under center. Rhode Armel's behind him. The Garcias are in the wings. Fleming split out by himself to the right. Zachman's going to look in his direction. He throws a quick out route, and he's got him. Makes a first guy miss, and he tries to get to the corner. He's forced out of bounds at the 16-yard line for that'll be another first down or very close to it. We'll see on the actual spot. It is a first down.
Yeah, that was a very, very close spot there, but as you said, they gave it to him there. But yeah, that's the a little quick route there. They're just trying to get the ball into Fleming's hands. It seems like they're not having as much success getting him over the top, so get him on the short routes and let him make something happen.
Fleming on the sideline at this point with Zachman under center. He brings Rhode Armel in motion. Nope, that's Gage Garcia. And Garcia does a nice job fighting through the wash inside the 5 down to the 2-yard line. So a 15-yard run that didn't look like it was going anywhere.
Yeah, and again, that's how you rush for 2,000 yards in a season, and are able to take over records of the great Henry Hynoski from here. Like that's how you do that. He made something out of what looked like nothing.
The Tigers come up again, first and goal from the 2. It's Rhode Armel and Gage Garcia in the backfield. And they're going to hand it to Gage again, and Gage isn't in easily. And so with 11:34 left in the first half, the Tigers are now on top 20-0.
Yeah, again, that's another short field and a quick drive there for the Tigers. As you said, it took them a little bit longer this time around, but they kind of just pieced it together. Red Tornadoes need to figure out some way to get this Tiger offense to slow down a bit.
Well, it looks like it's actually going to come back, Dan. They're going to have an illegal shift on the Tigers, so let's check that. Move it all the way back to the 7. Well, it'll still be it'll be 14-zip Tigers. But again, first and goal from the 7 now.
Well, that's ball bouncing in the correct direction there for the Red Tornadoes.
And Coach Roth is going to have to take a timeout because while we were going on and on about the touchdown and praising Garcia and whatnot, it looked like the Tigers weren't entirely sure of what was going on either. I saw Zachman. Zachman was down around the other 40-yard line, and he had to try to run back, so Coach Roth had to take a timeout.
Yeah, as you said, Coach Roth taking that timeout, and you saw him out there on the field kind of just with his arms open, like, what what's going on? You know, it's sort of like we were. But as you see, looks like this may be a situation now. Looks like Fleming heading back into the huddle. I am curious to see if they let Zachman kind of throw this up and let Fleming go get it in the end zone.
Yeah, if you remember, that was the 2 touchdowns that the Tigers scored in the first half of the district championship game last year, where now they were in the opposing end zone. They were in the north end zone as opposed to the south. But it was the same thing. It was Hollenbach just kind of hitting that taking a 3-step drop, hitting that back foot and flinging it to the corner, and Fleming did the rest.
And you do have Fleming singled up there on the outside.
That's Belichick, who's doing a great job so far tonight keeping Fleming in check. He's got a little help over the top. Zachman is going to be under center. It'll be Gage Garcia in the slot back with Rode Armel and Gavin Garcia in the backfield. They're going to hand it to Gavin. Gavin's going to get strung out a little bit, but he works hard, and he is in. That time there's no flag on the field. That one's going to stand. So we'll check that. A 2-yard touchdown by Gage becomes a 7-yard by Gavin after the penalty.
And you see, as we were just praising Gage, the same thing happens with Gavin there. These guys just have a way of finding out how to pick their way kind of through the briar patch. They take those little hits and they run into some defenders, but they're able to fight through.
And how his extra point goes off the right upright. So that'll stay 20-0 Tigers with 11:28 left here in the first half.
So we'll see how the Red Tornadoes answer, Jim. We've been waiting for their offense to kind of wake up. But to be fair, their offense kind of had the same issue last week. You know, it took them a little while to get going, but once they did start to gel, they were able to put points on the board very quickly. So we're hoping that that's the same issue that they're having right now. Once they're able to start gelling, they can score points in bunches.
Yeah, so Dan, and this is unofficial as we're kind of up here trying to do a little bit of everything. But the Tigers, again, they have 3 scoring drives of 49 yards, 4 yards, and 42 yards. So I think for all intents and purposes, the Red Tornado defense is largely holding up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, it seems as though every time that the Tigers have started a drive in their own territory, they haven't been able to score.
And Alp's going to drive that one in the direction of Widener. He'll take it right at the 10-yard line. He's going to look to pick a direction, and he's got not a whole lot to go. Rode Armel slowed him down first.
Yeah.
Widener's going to get to the 24-yard line.
Yeah, as you said, Rode Armel first on the scene there to slow him down, and it looked like Cade Lynn was able to kind of clean that one up after Widener made Rode Armel miss. But again, you know, Red Tornadoes, not great field position to start. They got to make something happen. You can't let the Tigers continue on with their lead. You got to get a score here and kind of counter punch.
Reisinger in the gun. He takes the snap, but there's a whistle. Let's see what the whistle was. Wait and see. There's
no flag down.
A lot of signaling going on in the field. Wait and see. Okay. No signal whatsoever. So we'll leave that one up to the viewer's imagination as to what happened there. I'm open to suggestions.
Maybe the line judge there just didn't put the ball in play. You know, sometimes they gotta wait for them to blow the whistle.
Reisinger's going to hand it to Widener, and Widener's trying to make a move to the outside. He does a nice job of making a couple Tigers miss, but that looks like Tillett again running him down from behind to stop him at the 27, a gain of 4.
Yeah, the one thing that you're going to notice, that the similarities between the Southern Columbia linebackers and the Mount Carmel area linebackers is unreal. They all have great sideline-to-sideline speed and can track the ball well.
And Reisinger, hard count, no movement out of the Tigers. They've kind of figured that one out a little bit. But we've got Red Tornadoes have Chapman and Wills to the split out right to the wide side of the field. That's their sideline. And Reisinger's going to take the snap, and he's going to roll out that way. He throws it, throws a hard route. That's Wills, who makes a nice catch, breaks a tackle, gets up close. That's not Wills, first of all. That's going to be Burkowski, so let me check that one. And it'll be very close to a first down. and it will be a first down. And Dan, is that the Red Tornadoes' first down of the night?
I do believe that is their first down of the night, Jim. And as I said, this may be the start that they need to kind of get that offense rolling.
1st and 10 from the 34 now, 10:21 left. The Red Tornadoes trail 20-0. Reisinger, he takes the snap and he's going to hand it to Widener. Widener's got nowhere to go. He ran into some big arms there right away, and we'll take a look and try to get a jersey. Looks like number 73. That's going to be Cole Shankweiler.
Yeah, as you said, definitely some big arms that he ran into there. Along with, it looked like Dyer Stein as well, number 79. Those are some big boys in there.
So the Red Tornadoes there, looks like you get a little movement to the outside. They thought it might soften up the middle. The Tigers turn them away. 2nd and 10. Reisinger has Chapman all by himself to the right, but he's going to roll out to the left, and he goes high over Wills, and Wills is upended by Cade Lynn.
Yeah, as you said, Reisinger kind of rolling to his left there. That's a tough ball. Didn't have time to set his feet. A little high for Wills. Wills tries to go up for it, and as you said, took a big hit from Cade Lynn, but was able to hop up pretty quickly there.
Yep, so the Red Tornadoes, now they're looking to the sideline.
Yeah, and that was that hit actually kind of takes me back to watching the film of Hammond last week. Cade Lynn with another big hit on a kind of a unaware offensive player for the Seahawks last week. He's just out there hitting guys.
And the Red Tornadoes are going to take a timeout there. They had 2 to the right and 2 to the left, and we're in the middle of pretty much wholesale changes there for a second before Coach Dara ultimately took the timeout. So again, 9:37 left here in the second quarter. We'll take an opportunity to talk about some of the folks that make these broadcasts possible. We'll start with Archie Shoe Store at 828 Chestnut Street in Coltmont, where you can get shoes for the entire family. We can talk about Academy Sports Center in Mount Carmel. Customized printing and embroidery on anything, including uniforms for businesses, sports teams, and organizations. Dan, I can talk more about Academy now, given that my daughter just started going to Lourdes for preschool, and they've been terrific with helping us get the uniform set up and all that fun stuff. So we're all set there.
Awesome.
Community Pharmacy, 4th and Oak Streets, Mount Carmel, prescription service with a personal touch. There's a Family Home Medical on 4th and Oak as well in Mount Carmel, which helps seniors to stay in their homes with professional nursing care and assisted living. So the Red Tornadoes are back out on the field.
And Jim, I think that timeout by Coach Dara was smart. You get your first down. You start to maybe build a tiny bit of momentum. You can't have that go by the wayside here.
It's 3rd and 10, 4 wide for Reisinger, 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Widener with him in the backfield. He goes straight back. He's under pressure, throws it off his back foot, but Burkowski's going to somehow make that reception. What a catch. That was an ill-advised throw, and Burkowski's going to bail everybody out.
And that is what these Red Tornadoes needed, Jim. As you said, I just noticed something, Jim. Every time that the Red Tornadoes go 4 wide, Halliday and Tillett are blitzing. There's 6 to 7 guys coming at Reisinger at a time. He's able to throw that one up off his back foot, and Burkowski, as you said, just did a great job of kind of turning his back and making that catch.
First snap for the Red Tornadoes in Tiger territory is going to start with a step backwards after a false start on the offense there. But yeah, that was a big play on a big down, 3rd and 10. Again, the Red Tornadoes at risk of turning it back over to the Tigers again. But there's the pitch and catch from Reisinger to Burkowski from the 34 down to the 41. So a nice gain of 25. That'll be 1st and 15 now for the Red Tornadoes from the 46. Again, still in Tiger territory.
Yeah, and they, as we said, they really need to capitalize on these drives. They need to continue this drive, continue to move the ball, shorten the game, stay on offense.
That's Troutman and Burkowski out to the wide side of the field now. Chapman and Pupo to the left. They send Widener in motion, and they're going to swing it out to him, and he's just going to get a run and start and try to get as close to the initial line of scrimmage as possible, but he's going to get a tough spot there. We're being out pretty early. We'll pick up a 2.
Yeah, that's a tough play, sending Widener out to the short side of the field. He doesn't have a whole lot of room to work out there. It's a good job picking up, as you said, maybe 1 or 2. But that's, good job of just getting anything on that.
Same look for the Red Tornadoes, 4 wide. Chapman goes back and he throws it. And that's, again, Dan, that's one of those timing routes. And this time he misses Burkowski. It's going to bring up 3rd and 13 with 9:19 left in the second quarter. The Tigers on top 20-0.
Yeah, and at this point, with how much pressure Reisinger's under in the backfield, those are the only kind of routes that he can throw. Those quick hitters where he's either taking 2 steps and throwing it up to his big targets, or he's hitting the hard slants and quick hitches.
Reisinger 4 wide. He's got Widener with him. Hard count. No motion. So another thing, Dan, we'll talk about here as soon as we get a second. The Tigers are making certain 3rd down defensive substitutions as well on their defensive line. They're taking out a little bit of the beef, bringing in some speed. Reisinger throws it to Widener in a switch on a swing pass, and he's dragged down by Fleming. Couldn't get around him. He's going to lose another 5 yards. So just as quickly as the Red Tornadoes found themselves in Tiger territory, they're going to be punting again.
Yeah, Widener tries to make something happen as he gets out there. Fleming not fooled, knowing he had help over the top on Chapman, was able to kind of just let Chapman fly by him and go up there and make that tackle. But hopefully Chapman can pin the Tigers deep on this punt.
Yeah, only Fleming back this time for the Tigers, so it'll be curious to see if they go after it. They don't. Chapman's punt is, again, angled away from Fleming, but that's tough. There's a lot going on here for the Red Tornadoes right now. A lot going on in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and it looked as though there was a little extracurricular activities out there. We'll see what happens with it.
So as it stands now, the ball is going to be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 29. Again, Chapman doing what he can to keep the ball away from Fleming, but that went way out of bounds.
Yeah, and it looked like with that little extra stuff there, it looked like it was on kind of on both sides. Both teams kind of participating in the extracurriculars, so no harm, no foul there. But we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Don't want to see this game get chippy.
Oh, so look at this. For the first time tonight, we see the Tigers have 2 wide to the left. Out there, company Fleming is number 9, Liam Klebon, but they're going to hand it to Rodarmel up the middle. He does a nice job moving the pile across the 30 to the 34-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Yeah, as you said, Rodarmel does do a good job of moving the pile there, but great, decent job there. The Red Tornadoes are kind of containing that. As I said, all these backs for the Tigers have that ability to kind of just break out of what looks like a pile and take it for a long run. So being able to kind of stack that up and giving up just a short gain is a win in itself.
Clock ticks under 8 minutes now in the second quarter in what's felt like a very long first half.
Yes, it has.
Zachman under center again. Two right for the Tigers. Fleming's in the slot with Klebon split out wide. We're going to get whistles before anything starts. We'll see. Maybe we can get a signal. There's a flag. The back judge has thrown a flag. It's going to be a delay of an illegal substitution against the Tigers. That's a question, Dan.
Maybe it was an illegal switch. You saw the running back go from the wing into the backfield. That could have been an illegal shift there.
But either way, it'll result in a 5-yard penalty, bring up 2nd and 10 from the 29 now, but it's the same look for the Tigers. And Zachman's going to throw a now route to Fleming, and Fleming's got a little bit of space. He makes one move to catch the corner. He does get it. He picks up the first down. He's out to the 42-yard line, where it'll be another first down. Yeah,
he was able to get out there for the first down, as you said. It looked like just that little head fake was enough to get him a little bit of space on the outside there. Good job of the Red Tornadoes kind of stringing that out, but unfortunately, after he was able to gain the first down.
Back to the wing tee with just Fleming out. Both Garcias are in the H-back slot. Zachman looks to that. He throws it out to Gage Garcia, who makes a terrific one-handed catch. Now it'll be wrestled down by Witkowski and Mikowski, but it is a great catch, and he picked up about 6 yards.
Yeah, it was a very good catch there by Garcia, but as you said, kind of tried to put his foot in the ground and make a move there, but Red Tornado defenders not fooled on that. and able to rally to that and make the tackle.
Yeah, on both sides, there's been a lot of really good tackling. There's two teams that will pride themselves on that, as well as just their defense in general. 2nd and 5 from the 47. Zachman under center. He'll take the snap, and he's going to keep it himself. He's going to roll out to his right. He's got to beat Belichick, and he can stiff arm Belichick, and he gets through. Now he's got some room. There are a couple of flags that look to be thrown. Zachman continues, and the ball's on the ground. This has been all over the place. So first of all, we've got a penalty that's probably going to bring this back all the way anyway. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be inside the 20. It'll be at 1st and 10 at the 19 before the flag. But they're actually going to get the Red Tornadoes for a face mask on that one. Judging from the way the penalty came flying in, Dan, it looked like it was in the direction of a hold, but they got the flag. Now there's a second flag on the field back behind the play.
Yeah, I believe this is actually where the penalty occurred, Jim, where that flag was thrown. It looked like I could see, but I'm just thinking now that they threw the flag back here. They're going to give 15 yards from the end of the play. I'm not really sure how that works, but I believe in high school football they still do an incidental face mask, and it didn't look like there was any sort of malicious intent. It was able to see where the face mask occurred. Not sure if they really called that one right. I think it could have been called an incidental, but I guess with the chippiness and the extracurriculars, they kind of want to nip that in the butt early.
That's going to be a half the distance penalty. So just like that, the Tigers have 1st and goal from the 9.5, we'll call it. They'll go 2 wide. Fleming to the left, Klebon to the right. Zachman takes the snap, and he's looking for Fleming on the hard slant. The ball's tipped, and Belichick intercepts it at the goal line. He's going to go down inside the 5, but they're going to turn away the Red Tornadoes. That ball was hit a couple times. Looked like it was touched at the line. It went through Fleming's hands before Belichick snagged it out of the night sky, and hopefully turns the tide here for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and Jim, I have to say, even though this is good, the Red Tornadoes are backed up in their own territory, this could be, as you said, this could be the turning tide for the Red Tornadoes. They need to get something going with the offense. They need to continue to move the ball. It looked like Witkowski, actually, the linebacker that got his hand up to deflect that, and as you said, into the waiting arms of Belichick, who did a good job of kind of finding that ball and going to get it.
1st and 10 for the Red Tornadoes on their own 5-yard line. They trail these Tigers 20-0 with 6:23 left in the first half. And they're going to give it to Widener, and Widener gets a little bit of space. He'll get out to the 10-yard line. Call it a gain of 4 to bring up 2nd and 6.
Yeah, good run there by Widener. Just kind of getting up. I think this is what the Red Tornadoes kind of need to go back to. They need to get somebody out in front of Widener. Get Daukus leading the play just to give him a little extra room to run.
Yeah, the Red Tornadoes need to pick up at least a 1st down here to give Chapman a little bit of room in the event he has to punt. But Mount Carmel looks tight. This is more what we've seen, the shotgun double wing from last year. And they'll hand it to Widener, and Widener's going to try to pick his way. He's back across the line of scrimmage, but not much further than that. They'll be at the 12-yard line. It'll bring up about a 3rd and 4.
Yeah, Jim, as I said, it looks like they are kind of starting to tighten things up, and that's kind of what they need to do. Because, as I said, they cannot be one-dimensional. They need to have a run game to open up that pass game. If this is what they have to do to get back to it, then this is what they have to do.
And again, on 3rd down, the Tigers sending in number 67, Lear Quinton, is specifically on 3rd down. So we'll talk about that the next time we get a break. But for now, it's 3rd and 4 for the Red Tornadoes. Reisinger takes the snap. He rolls to the right, and he's going to try to fire it past the defense, but he fires it past Burkowski as well. So it'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, and as you said, they were able to move a little bit, but I believe Chapman's still going to have to punt out of his end zone there. But as you said, Tigers going to almost like a speed rush set when they get the Red Tornadoes into a 3rd and long, bringing out a little bit of beef and bringing in a little bit of speed to kind of get after Reisinger. It seems like they're trying to put as much pressure on him as possible.
Yeah, and Lear Quinton, number 67, again, he's a starter on offense. He started last year. He was the only returning starter on the offensive line for the Tigers. He's also a state championship caliber wrestler. He's been state finals and a wrestling commit to Brown.
Wow.
But a nice punt by Chapman that time. He's going to get it into Tiger territory. The Red Tornadoes are going to scoop that up probably earlier than they needed to, but I think there was a little concern that Fleming was going to scoop it up. So it'll be 1st and 10 Tigers at the 47-yard line, at their own 47-yard line.
Yeah, and that's, as you said, good job of Chapman kind of keeping it low and able to get that good roll to get it into Tiger territory and keep it away from Fleming. So good on Chapman, double there.
Tigers back on the ball. Zachman under center. 4:56 and counting. He'll take the snap. He's going to turn around and hand it right to Gage Garcia. And Gage has the sideline. He's making guys miss. He can't be brought down by one Red Tornado. Will be dragged out of bounds finally inside the 40. It'll be a 1st down and more down to the 37-yard line.
Yeah, and Jim, we continue to talk about the ability of these Garcias running the ball. Just as you think that they have them stacked up at the line for no gain or a short gain, they're able to kind of bust out, just throw one stiff arm out and make a couple guys miss and turn it into a 1st down. 1st
and 10 from the 48. Zachman takes a snap, and he's going to hand it to Gavin Garcia that time, and Gavin's in the seam, and now it's a foot race, and Gavin's going to win those. There'll be a 48-yard touchdown scamper by number 5, Gavin Garcia. And with 4:40 remaining in the 1st half, the Tigers are pouring it on, up 26-0.
Yeah, as you said, Jim, another good job there of Gavin kind of just finding the crease and then getting to the sideline. As you said, he's more of a speedster. He's not going to lose a whole lot of foot races, as you said. And that's what those guys need to do. It's in and out. In to the crease and then out to the sideline. Great job of finding the seam and getting up the sideline for Garcia there. Good job all around by the Southern Columbia blocking the downfield.
And Halb's kick is up and good. Looks like number 18, Tim Witkowski's the holder on that one, so we'll give him credit. Did a nice job of scooping that up. But again, with 4:40 left in the 1st half, the Tigers up 27-0.
Yeah, so Jim, at this point, the Red Tornadoes need to get a score here before halftime to kind of keep any sort of momentum, to kind of gain some momentum before going into halftime, and to keep this from getting too out of hand. They got to get one back before they head into that locker room. And I think that would do wonders for their confidence going into the locker room. And I think it would almost make the Tigers a little nervous.
Yeah, I think so too, Dan. We've seen these games, they kind of turn at the half. We've seen that a lot over the last 3 seasons. Again, with this being the 5th matchup for these two teams. And again, I think from the Red Tornado standpoint and from the Tigers standpoint, these are both now finally senior-laden teams.
Yeah.
So it's not just that these teams have met a lot over the last few years. These players have met a lot over the last few years as well, which may attribute to some of the chippiness you've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these guys know each other on the field as well as off. I mean, being so close together, the schools.
Halb's going to drill that kickoff through the end zone. My goodness, that was a boot. So the Red Tornadoes will start this drive at their own 20.
Yeah, not a bad decision by Widener there, kind of letting that one bounce and go out of bounds, preserving time on the clock. You know, if he tries to field that, even if he does field it cleanly, that clock starts winding. So preserving time by letting it go out of bounds there.
See what the Red Tornadoes dial up here. We didn't really address it before. This game is moving quickly, especially from the Red Tornado side, as it always is when they're on offense.
Yeah.
But Reisinger, while we saw him limp off before, he was back in the next series and seems to be quite all right.
Yeah, the one thing that you know about Reisinger is he's a gamer. He does not want to be off that field.
He's going to take that snap and hand it to Widener, and Widener just has nowhere to go. He'll get out past the line of scrimmage. Give him 2 more after that. It'll bring up 2nd and 7.
Yeah, Widener again stacked up there, Jim, as you said. But it looks like this is the time of the game where the Red Tornadoes kind of flourished last week against Central Columbia. Kind of almost in like a 2-minute drill type thing. Now there's 4 minutes on the clock, but this is the time where they really need to make something happen.
Red Tornadoes come out. It's trips to the right. A single receiver, Chapman to the left. Widener in the backfield with Reisinger. And Reisinger's going to keep it, try to hit Chapman on the slant, but it's incomplete. Bring up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, and Chapman almost had to play a little defense there. It looked like was able to get a hand on it.
Yeah.
not able to pull it in, but did keep it from kind of going into the waiting arms of the double coverage that he's been seeing a lot of tonight.
See what the Red Tornadoes do here. 3:59 left in the first half, trailing 27-0 on the road at Southern. Reisinger hard count, gets a little movement from the Tigers, but not enough. Halliday and Tillett almost can't contain themselves, as you pointed out before, Dan. They're going after Reisinger every chance they get, and here they come again. The line does a nice job holding up. Reisinger's going to throw it as far as he can, and he's got Bukowski. Does a great job pulling that in, and he's going to pick up a first down.
Yeah, amazing job by Bukowski at catching that ball.
Yeah, it's going to be all the way down in Tiger territory to the 38-yard line, which will be a pickup of about 40. All of it in the air on a rocket by Reisinger.
Amazing, beautifully thrown ball by Reisinger. I'll tell you, that it literally dropped into Bukowski's hands as he was able to find the ball over his head.
The Red Tornadoes back up on the ball well before the chain gang is even set. Reisinger is going to go right back to it. If some is good, more is better. So he's got Bukowski again on a quick slant. This will pick up 7, bring up 2nd and 3.
And Jim, one thing I wanted to point out, the first or second drive of the game, Bukowski had a little issue handling a pass from Reisinger. No issues now. He kind of learned from that. Beautiful hands to pull that ball out of the air.
Yeah, that one he scooped up off the turf.
Yeah.
Did a great job. Now the Red Tornadoes are back to 2 right, 2 left. They're going to hand it to Widener. Nope, Reisinger's going to keep it, and he goes down hard, well behind the sticks. We'll try to get a jersey number. It's going to look like, see, number 2 and number 40 for the Tigers. That's going to be Tyler Waltman.
And Ian Huntington, it looked like.
And Huntington, he of the tip pick 6 last week.
Yeah. Definitely, Reisinger felt the pressure from his right side, looked to turn back left, and took a big hit. Does a great job of just kind of holding on to that football.
So this time, Reisinger is going to be on the sideline here. They bring in Julian Steller, the kicker, who's also the backup quarterback. Give a little change of pace here. Going to take the snap, and now he's going to drop back, and he's going to try to throw it. He moves up in the pocket, and he tries to make a play, but the Tigers are too quick, too fast, too strong. They're there waiting for him. And again, that's Waltman on the tackle as well.
Yeah, Jim, as you said, a bit of a change of pace with Steller. One thing that I know Coach Dara likes about Steller is his ability to run the ball. And it looked like he tried to tuck that and run there. But we'll see what we're going to do here on 4th down.
Yeah, again, 4th and 12 here. 2 minutes and counting left in the first half. Red Tornadoes trailing 27-0. And with a 27-point lead here, the Tiger faithful are infuriated at how this game is being handled, and I guess that's what makes you great. And the Red Tornadoes are finally going to call a timeout there, as they couldn't quite get the personnel right.
And I don't know if that was not getting the personnel right or Coach Dara trying to use all of that 25-second play clock to kind of wind things down before trying to pin the Tigers deep here in their own territory.
That's a good point, Dan. It also is a good point to talk about Hollywood Pizza and Bakery. Homemade foods prepared every day. K&S Music at Route 487 in Paxinas, where you can get everything for the beginner or professional musician. We'd like to thank their experienced staff who provide quality instruments and, of course, the instruction. The Mount Carmel Farmers Market. So again, we're here on Saturday. You're used to hearing us on Friday night, or we can tell you to go to the Farmers Market tomorrow. Unfortunately, if you didn't get there this morning, you missed your chance. You got to wait a whole week, I know, to get your fresh produce from over 50 local vendors. That's open every Saturday from 8 to 2 at Route 61 and 54 near Atlas. Reisinger back on the field for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and it looks as though the Red Tornadoes have made their decision.
Yeah, they're going to go for it.
Don't believe it was a difficult one here. So need to make something happen.
4 wide for Reisinger. Looks to be Wills and Bukowski to his right. Chapman and Pupo to the left. Widener is in as personal protector. Reisinger scans the defense. He takes the snap. He drops back. He's looking. He's going to throw it as far as he can in the middle of the field. And he had Pupo, but it was just a little out of his reach. So the Red Tornadoes are going to turn it over to the Tigers on downs here.
Yeah, it did seem as though Pupo had a step there, just not able to get that one out.
So 1:33 left in the second quarter. The Tigers on top 27-0. They'll take another drive here that they'll start in their own territory, which hasn't necessarily been the norm, although they are at the 39-yard line. So the Red Tornadoes will need to come up with another stop here to avoid potentially starting the second half in the mercy rule.
Yeah, Jim, if I know how Coach Roth likes to play it, I don't think he's had enough. I think he's going to try and go deep here.
Zachman turns and he hands it to Gage Garcia, who's got some room in the seam. And Widener is going to tackle him by the shoe tops. And that Widener is about all that was between Garcia and a 61-yard touchdown.
Yeah, Widener, as you said, able to make that touchdown-saving tackle, but Tigers back on the ball.
Tigers back on the ball. They're not going to halftime with only 27 if they can help it. Zachman's going to drop back, and he throws it out to Klebon, who makes a great catch, goes up and gets it. Terrific job.
Yeah, Klebon did make a very good catch there. Not surprising to see.
For another look at this. Hold on, we're going to take a second here. They're moving the clock, so there's some confusion. I noticed my phone started vibrating, Dan's phone started vibrating, and from our vantage point today, you can see everybody in the stands suddenly grab their phone at the same time. It's an Amber Alert, so little public service announcement. You want to check your local media for information on that. 1:01 left in the first half. The Tigers on top, 27-0. Oh, they're going to reset the clock. They'll move it back to 1:17.
Yeah, I believe the clock continued to run there after the first down.
1st and 10 from the Mount Carmel 35-yard line.
You know, it seems like a lot of the times when you get Fleming on the wide side of the field by himself, they like to go his way. We'll see what they do here.
Zachman under center. He brings Gavin Garcia in motion, and he's going to hand it to him. And Garcia, he's got to see him, and he makes just unbelievable moves. He's in. That's 35 yards, and that's too much. That's too fast. That's hard. I'm not sure how you can stop a kid that moves like that.
I believe Gavin Garcia was able to make about 6 or 7 Red Tornado defenders miss. And that's not a knock on the Red Tornado defense. That's just as you said, the quickness and the shiftiness of Gavin Garcia being able to make just a terrific run.
The Tigers will come out and they'll kick. Haupt is going to drive that one through the middle, and it'll be 34-0 as the Tigers are rolling over the Red Tornadoes here in Jim Roth Stadium on the beautiful campus of Southern Columbia area in Elysburg, Pennsylvania. And again, we joked about it, not so much joking, but referred to it as the seat of power for, you know, high school football in Pennsylvania at this point, and you're seeing firsthand why tonight.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, they have three Big Ten commits. I believe a defensive lineman and offensive lineman who's going to wrestle at an Ivy League school. These guys are not just excelling athletically, they're also excelling academically, as you see. But Brown is such an amazing academic school. But the Red Tornadoes doing the same. They got a lot of talent on their side of the ball, and I'm excited to see what they have for the second half and for this last minute. I hope Coach Dara decides to air it out and just see what happens. At this point, put it up there, let them go get it.
Haupt drives that one deep, and he is really feeling it. That's going to be Widener at the 4. But again, he took it trailing, and he's got a little seam there. Best return of the night by far for Widener, out across the 30 to the 32. 54 seconds left in the first half. The Red Tornadoes have some decisions to make.
Yeah, no, we'll see what Coach Dara decides to do. I don't see any reason in not kind of trying to go for it all here. You know, yeah, maybe it helps take a knee for a little bit of go in the locker room and reset. But why not go for 6 here?
So we'll see what the Red Tornadoes decide to do. They're going to hand it to Widener, and Widener's got a little bit of space. The turf monster jumped up and got him there a little bit, Dan, as he's across the 35 to the 36.
Yeah, as we see, looks like the clock's going to continue to run as well. So looks like they might want to just run this one into the ground and kind of take it into the locker room.
Which, again, the way this Red Tornado offense operates and how quick they are up on the ball, it's kind of hard sometimes for them to kill the clock. It looks almost funny when they do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And Reisinger is going to bring Burkowski in motion, but they hand it to Widener up the middle. Widener's going to get out to the 40. So the clock will continue to run as he hasn't reached the first down marker just yet. We're under 10 seconds. We'll wait and see here if anybody makes any kind of motions. 3, 2, and that's the end of the first half here at Jim Ross Stadium in Ely'sburg, Pennsylvania, where the two-time defending state champion Southern Columbia Tigers are having their way with the Red Tornadoes as they are on top 34-0. We're going to go to halftime here, but please enjoy the stylings, as always, of the Mount Carmel Area Big Red Band. Hello and welcome back to Jim Roth Stadium here in Elysburg, Pennsylvania, where the two-time defending state champion Southern Columbia area Tigers are on top of the visiting Red Tornadoes 34-0. Dan, we've seen a lot. We've got a little bit of, we'll call it technical difficulties, but I think it's wireless difficulties. Again, as we always know, Jose's on the sideline, and he can send us up some statistics typically. Having a little bit of trouble receiving those. But I'll give you the one that matters, and it's that the Tigers are on top 34-0.
Yeah, and it's a tough spot for the Red Tornadoes to be in going into the half. But we were just talking about, before coming back on the air, that that long walk to over to the school and into the locker room is it's a good time to reflect and kind of think, how you're going to come out and attack things going into the second half. And I'm hoping the Red Tornadoes are going to come out a little energized. But let's go real quick right into the keys to the game. We'll start off with Southern this time. I'll put a little check mark next to making MCA one-dimensional. As you said, we weren't able to get our stats from our stat guru, Mr. Gonzalo, down there on the sideline, but they've definitely done a great job of kind of forcing the Red Tornadoes to throw the ball, not having a whole lot of success putting the ball on the ground. Other than that, Zachman was able to bust off, one decent run on that bootleg, and after that, the Red Tornadoes have been doing a really good job of kind of stomping that out and not letting him get anywhere. And they also have somewhat been containing Fleming since that first play from scrimmage. So that's the only one that I can check off for the Tigers. Going to Mount Carmel, unfortunately, haven't been able to put a check mark next to any of those. Again, as I just said, they're having a hard time establishing a run game. They are having a hard time kind of slowing down the Garcias in the backfield with, Rhode Armel to kind of split things up with them. And they're not forcing Zachman to throw the ball. And I think that's really what they need to kind of do here coming into the second half on the defensive side. They got to stop that run and force Zachman to beat you.
Yeah, and they will be on defense first, again, as the Tigers won the toss initially and deferred. So Chapman will be kicking to Gage, Garcia, and Julian Fleming for the first time tonight, off a tee at least. And it's a short kick, and he's going to avoid them again. It'll go to the up man. That's Crowell. Crowell does a nice job returning it. He fought hard. He caught it around the 35, and he'll get out to the 40. So that's where the Tigers will start, 1st and 10 from their own 40.
Yeah, that's as you said, kind of a smart move there by Chapman, keeping it away from the threats in the deep back there. And but we'll see again, as you said, the Tigers kind of starting their offensive set. And we'll see. Like I said, the Red Tornadoes need to do something to kind of slow up that run game here and force the Tigers to kind of beat them over the top.
Yeah, all 5 of the Tigers' touchdowns in that first half came on the ground, courtesy of the Garcia brothers, which isn't totally uncommon, but the Red Tornadoes are going to do what they can to kind of muddy those waters here. Zachman under center. He'll take the snap, and he's going to turn around and hand it to Gage. And Gage is powering through, and the Red Tornadoes doing a nice job of ripping at that ball, trying to create some sort of momentum. But he's going to get out to the 49-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd and short.
Yeah, Jim, that's one thing that I have to say we have not seen in this game. I don't believe is a turnover yet. We've seen the ball touch the ground a few times, but the team that was on offense when the ball hit the ground was also on offense when the ball was recovered. So I think a turnover would do the Red Tornadoes wonders.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were talking about. You got to force the Tigers to put the ball in the air. When they did put the ball in the air down around the goal line, Blitchick was able to come away with that interception to turn the Tigers away. Looks like they'll put it in the air again here as they've got 2 to the left. And check that, it'll be a quick handoff to Rhode Armel. He does a nice job getting into Red Tornado territory down to the 45-yard line for a 1st down.
And as you said, that, yeah, thank you for correcting me there. Red Tornadoes were able to come away with that interception earlier on in the first half there, but we're not able to capitalize, and that's one thing that they really need to do. If they are able to get another turnover here, they need to get points on the board out of it. But they need to slow down this run game to force, again, the Tigers to put the ball in the air.
So Fleming split out to the right. Rhode Armel is straight behind Zachman, and the Garcias are in the wing of that wing T. Gage comes in motion. They hand it to him. He tries to get to the outside. And a nice play slung out of bounds by 21, Reed Witkowski.
Reed Witkowski does a great job there. I think that's the first run of the game that Gage Garcia hasn't picked up a positive yardage there. It looked like he got back to the line of scrimmage, but no gain on the play. And as you said, Reed Witkowski kind of read that, got through the hole behind the blockers, and was able to get in there real quick to make that tackle. Nice read by Reed.
Same look for the Tigers. Check that. They'll bring Gage in the backfield next to Rhode Armel. And Zachman's going to hand it to Gage on what's a delayed handoff, and he does a great job of bouncing it outside before taking a big hit from Troutman. He had Witkowski around his ankles, and Troutman finished it off, but that play looked a little disjointed from the beginning, Dan.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a designed draw play or if it was just, somewhat of a miscount, because it did not look like Garcia was ready to even for the snap there. But good job by the Red Tornadoes rallying to it.
Tigers make a little change. They're going to send in Wade Kerstetter. They're going to send out Wade Kerstetter and send in Klebon. And we kind of see this when they'll go with the two receivers. They'll bring Klebon and let him kind of cover up Fleming. He'll be in the outside. Fleming will be in the slot. Zachman under center with Garcia and Rhode Armel behind him. And he's going to throw a now pattern to Julian Fleming, who gets the corner. And now he's on a little bit of movement, and he puts his shoulder down, runs through a Red Tornado defender before being knocked out of bounds hard by Witkowski. So a great hit there by Witkowski.
Yeah, good job of by Belichick and Witkowski getting in there and kind of knocking that down. Unfortunately, he was able to get the first down on the play, but good job of, as you said, he was just able to get outside, get to the sideline. But good job kind of rallying to it and putting a hit on him.
And that's what Coach Roth is trying to do. He's been trying to do it all night, get Fleming the ball in space. And so here we go again. Now it'll be tight. And Zachman turns around as he hands it to Gage Garcia. And Gage is in the seam. And he's going to make a run. And Gage is in from 30 yards out. It'll be a Tiger touchdown. And that's going to bump it up to 40 with 9:33 left here in the third quarter. It'll be Tigers 40 and the Red Tornadoes 0.
Yeah, and again, that's been the difficulty. As it looks like the Tigers' run game is starting to get slowed down a bit. They're able to just find a seam there. That play was designed to go to the right side. He was able to cut it back all the way across field and just make a few guys miss and get into the end zone.
And Haupt drills that one, so it'll be 41-0 Tigers. The only blemish on Haupt's mark tonight is an early extra point that kind of hit the right upright. But the other thing, Dan, that'll do is unfortunately for the Red Tornadoes, that'll move us into the mercy rule situation where the lead is greater than 35 after halftime.
Yeah, I believe the clock is going to continue to run now once the ball is kicked off. And we will see what the Red Tornadoes are able to do here with their first series on offense.
Yeah, I think, again, we talk a lot about Reisinger. We talked about him last week. We'll talk him again about this week. We'll talk about him all season and his evolution. He's had a lot of nice balls tonight. Burkowski's done a great job of hauling them in. And really, we kind of talked about this before. Fleming is shadowing Chapman.
Yep. And
so for better or worse, Chapman's been a little bit neutralized, but that's giving us an opportunity to see some of these other guys really, really catch the football.
Yeah, and it absolutely is giving us an opportunity to see more guys kind of get some touches. And as you said, just kind of see Burkowski, the hands on some of these other receivers.
Haupt's kick was taken by Widener, and he brought it up to the 29-yard line. And we'll see again, as we talked about that clock, we'll keep moving here, Dan, as it approaches 9 minutes.
Yeah, well, as I said, we'll see what the Red Tornadoes can do on offense here. At this point, you're kind of playing for pride. You want to put a couple in the end zone. You really need to get points at this point, just to kind of preserve some pride.
Reisinger in the gun. He is Widener to his left. Two receivers to the right. Two receivers to the left. It's a little run pass option there to Chapman, who's going to make the catch. He'll scoop that one up off the turf. Nice job there. He'll pick up about 4. Out to the 33, it'll be 2nd and 6.
Yeah, Chapman did all he could there, as you said, just kind of got down, had to crouch down and make that catch, and almost ducked the Julian Fleming coming in there trying to headhunt, it looked like.
I want to make a quick correction. It was not Widener in the backfield with Reisinger. That's Joe Bendis. He of the 11 carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown last week. But now Reisinger's under pressure, does a great job rolling out. Always looking downfield. He throws a bullet to Chapman, and how they're not going to call a pass interference is beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, Chapman was
a lot of this stuff happens, it gets mixed up, but a Tiger lowered the boom on Chapman well before the ball arrived, and the officials just missed that one.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Jim. It looked like the ball was, as the ball was approaching Chapman, there were multiple Southern Tigers in the area trying to put a hit on Chapman, and it looked like 1 or 2 of them definitely got there early. They flat out missed that one.
But again, a great job by Reisinger. He's kind of hunting that big play. He felt the pressure. He got out of the pocket. He kept his eyes downfield and tried to make something happen.
And you got to give credit to Joey Bendis on that one with that peel back block to kind of give Reisinger just a bit more time.
Reisinger now, he takes a snap, and he's under pressure again. This time he's going to step up in the pocket, and the best he can do is not turn it over. So great job by Reisinger there to do so. But he will be dropped for a loss. It's going to bring up 4th down.
Yeah, and as you said, that was the best thing that Reisinger can do at that time. We talked about it at the outset during halftime that, seems like Coach Roth, when he sees this wide open offense, spread offense, he's just kind of cutting his losses. He's saying, you know what, I have faith in my guys to get there, and he's kind of leaving his D-backs on an island, but giving them an opportunity to go get it.
Stellar punts that one for the Red Tornadoes, and that looked like it came off the side of his foot in a pretty clean spiral. It hit the turf and rocketed out of bounds, but again, it'll be another Tiger drive started inside Red Tornado territory at the 44-yard line.
Yeah, well, we will see. Looks like Zachman and Fleming heading towards the Southern Columbia sideline as these Tigers take the field. And it looks like number 13, Ronnie Zito, going out there to call the signals.
So we'll see if this offense looks any different under Zito. Try to see who else he's got out there with him. Try to get numbers and give these guys credit just as soon as we can. Zito, that time he's going to turn around. He's going to hand it to number 34, who takes a big hit from Widener. That's 34. Wes Barnes does a nice job of getting the outside, but my goodness, Widener was waiting for him.
Yeah, it's a decent pickup. Looked like Mount Carmel strung that out pretty well, but still ended up picking up about 6-7 yards there. But as you said, Widener with a big hit.
It's like number 20, Nick Ziegler, in there for the Tigers as well. I see number 18, Tim Witkowski. Again, we talked about him as the holder.
Yep.
25, Brandon Gedman for the Tigers. Zito takes the snap, and he's going to hand it to number 1, Braden Heim, who's up across the 35, close to a first down. They're going to say he's about a half a yard short. So number 36, Colin Sharrow, is going to head in there too. We got a lot of new faces and new jerseys. We'll keep you updated the best we can.
Yeah, this is the area of the field where you don't need to get this. You can go for it on 4th down, but we'll see if they try and just pound it ahead for the first.
3rd and 1, 5:15 left in this one. And they hand it to the up man. And we'll see where they mark it. He got it really close.
Yeah, it looks like he got a pretty good spot there by the side judge. We'll see it. It's going to be very close.
They're going to move the chain. That'll be a first down. Under 5 minutes now left in the 3rd quarter here. The Red Tornadoes trailing the Southern Columbia Tigers by a count of 41-0. Now, Dan, you talked before about playing for pride, and that's obviously it's an important thing, but probably more so in these types of situations where I think the expectation is still that this isn't the last time these two teams will play each other this year.
And Jim, I'm glad that you said that. This was kind of just last year. It was, you know, I believe we said the same thing last year when Mount Carmel and these Southern Columbia area Tigers faced each other in the regular season.
Right.
That what the ultimate goal for the Red Tornadoes is to get back again to that district championship game. You got to get there to get past there. That's the goal. And there's a very good possibility that to get there and get past there, you're going to have to get past these Tigers. So really, at this point, you're just trying to, as I said, you're trying to preserve a little bit of your pride in this game, and you also want to get that you know, let them know that, hey, we're coming back.
So a couple of flags on that one. Gedman was on. That was a second down play. Gedman was strung out there by the Red Tornado. So we've got a lot going on. We've got a couple flags. It looks like there's a Red Tornado down right around the 30-yard line. This will be 44 Chapman. So we'll see what's going on over there. The penalty is going to be on the Tigers while we wait for an update on Chapman and really everybody else. One of the things we talked about at the outset was I had mentioned about this being a divisional matchup. That's really not. And the reason that's the case is because the Tigers' decision to really leave the state and go play Hammond, which I think from a school district perspective, or at least from a team perspective, I understand the allure there, the opportunity to be on ESPN. Who doesn't want to be on ESPN? Right. The opportunity to showcase some of what you've done. And I think for those of us in the area, it's nice to know, hey, this is going on. This is what football looks like in the whole region.
Right.
But again, it does kind of take them out of the running for that conference title.
Yeah, and as you said, they did go down there and represent the Cole region well, and that, you know, that's what we talked about. Like Hammond was not prepared for the type of tough Cole region football that is played in this area. And I believe that there are probably a lot of schools in this area who could go to different states, even different parts of the state, and perform and kind of take take some people by surprise because of how physical they play.
The Red Tornadoes, we see that Chapman is up and he's being aided off the field. Looks like Dylan Pupo is going to go in there and spell him. We've got a couple penalties against the Tigers there, actually. So the first one is a hold. The Red Tornadoes declined that one. The second one looked to be a helmet-to-helmet hit.
Okay.
And the Red Tornadoes are going to accept that as it's a 15-yarder. That'll be a 15 from the spot of the foul, so that'll go all the way back to the 45-yard line. By the time they reset this one, it's going to be second and about 20.
Yeah, Jim, as we see, again, that, you know, Tigers set up for this long second down play here. Just wanted to give a shout out to the MCA band and cheerleaders. The band did a great job
always,
at halftime, as they always do. And a little bit closer to home for me this year, my brother-in-law is actually the co-drum major, Ryan Green. So a little shout out to Ryan. The cheerleaders do a great job. Follow this team around. They go all over the place and don't always get the recognition that they deserve. So just wanted to give a shout out to all the cheerleaders and band members that really bring the school spirit out.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, Dan. There's a lot of things that make these performances, these games tick. It starts with the kids on the fields, of course, the players and the band members, the cheerleaders, everybody, the TV studio kids especially.
Absolutely.
That make all of this possible, being able to bring this to you. And we know we reach people that aren't around. I can tell you, as Barnes fights hard across the 50-yard line, I can tell you, Dan, I know of at least one guy. We got a friend, our buddy Foster from college. He's out listening to us. He's in Philly. I think he's in Philly tonight. So we know we're branching out that way. Again, we've talked about this before. We'd love to hear from you, folks. Just where are you at? Where are you hearing us?
Yeah, I know this last year, I know this broadcast reached as far as Texas, California. Some people who are abroad, who are Mount Carmel alum, were listening in to some games. So again this year, we would like to be aware of where you're at, as Jimmy said, and where you're at, and you know where you're watching or listening from, because it's amazing to see the performance that this TV studio does, how far it is reaching.
It'll be 4th down here after carry by Keim. 4th and we'll call that about 21. So we'll see Fleming back in. He had to put his helmet back on and get out there to punt. The Red Tornadoes sent Pupo and Burkowski deep to receive it. They're standing at about their own 10-yard line. And again, with 2:14 and counting and a never-stopping clock, the Tigers are on top 41-0. Fleming gets a big punt. It's going to be inside the 10, and that's about as much of a homer bounce as you're going to see. He stuck that at the 9, and rather than go into the end zone for a touchback or come back to give the Red Tornadoes a couple extra yards, it just took a left and kind of stayed at the 9.
Yeah, you're not kidding. That talk about home field advantage with that punt. As you said, a homer bounce there. Just it's like he almost talked to the ball before he was able to kick it, told it where to go, because that could not have worked out any better.
So, Dan, you were talking about Mount Carmel alumni before. And for any of the alumni out there, we want to remind you about the Education Association for sure. The Mount Carmel Area Education the Mount Carmel Area Education Foundation. Let me check that. The Education Foundation. As Widener hands it to Bendis, who's up around the 15. The Mount Carmel Area Education Foundation exists to provide a means for the alumni, parents, and friends to unite in their efforts to support and strengthen the Mount Carmel Area School District through gifts, trusts, and bequests. The goal of the foundation is to help maintain a meaningful and effective learning culture within the school by providing opportunities in academics, arts, and athletics. If you do choose to donate, you may designate your gifts for use in a specific area, such as educational initiatives and supplies, television studio, hint, hint, wink, wink, band, library, tennis courts, athletics, or for a specific sport, such as baseball, football, soccer, whatever your heart desires. They may also be given to honor or in honor of or to memorialize a loved one or team. And you can do that at www.mca.k12.pa.us.
Another good run there by Bendis, picking up the first down. He hurdled the defender before he took a big hit there, but was able to pick up the first.
Reisinger's throw, it's a good throw, right on target to Belichick, who makes a great catch. Now he does take a big stick from number 5, Gavin Garcia, who's getting a little mop-up duty in a corner roll there, but again, nice pitch and catch.
Yeah, we saw Garcia actually with a pick last week against Hammond towards the end of the game. It looks like he's kind of just getting a little, as you said, just kind of getting a little work there at corner, possibly to maybe take over Fleming's spot next year.
Yeah, we'll see again, on both sides, the Red Tornadoes and the Tigers. This is a very senior-laden team. And Bendis there, he delivered a hit at the end of that run and tried to jump up and keep running.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we've noticed in these past 2 weeks from Bendis is just the very tough runner that he is. He has no problem putting his shoulder down and kind of laying a hit on people.
Yeah, and that's going to be the end of the third quarter. Again, everything moving a little bit quicker given the clock not stopping. But at the end of the third quarter here at Jim Roth Stadium in Elysburg, Pennsylvania, the Southern Columbia Area Tigers are on top of the visiting Red Tornadoes, 41-0. We'll take this break here again to talk about a couple other organizations and folks that help make this possible. And Dan, I appreciate you moving so I can get a little light here. So we talked about the farmers market, of course, Star Physical Therapy and Fitness as well in Marion Heights. There's rehabilitation and fitness training serving local sports teams and area residents. UNB Bank, complete banking services from your friends at UNB. There's Rano Insurance, where it's providing all types of insurance for home businesses and individuals from major insurers. We just talked about the Mount Carmel Area Education Foundation. Oh, but again, Dan, because it's Saturday and not Friday, we're a little more removed from our favorite Thursday night activity, Supper Club. So Supper Club, another season of Mount Carmel area football means another season of Supper Club. Supper Club gives the community a chance to interact with different players, cheerleaders, and band members, as well as get some information from the coaching staff on the upcoming game. If that piques your interest, you'll want to make your way to the back room at Matucci's Willow Street Cafe in Mount Carmel at 6:15 p.m. every Thursday night of the football season for great food and great conversation.
And it's a great time to kind of go and just, pick some of these players' brains, see how they tick, see them off the field. You see them intense all the time and on the field in the pads, ready to hit, run, cut, whatever they got to do. But then you get to see, as I said, at week one, unfortunately I wasn't able to make it to Supper Club this week, but in week one we had number 72, Colin Erb, also better known as Chili, and he's just a character, that kid. I'll tell you what, he has a career to be a stand-up comedian. And it's good to see these guys, off the field in a different light.
3rd and 6 for the Red Tornadoes after a pass interference or a false start penalty. And now that's the kind of play we were looking for here out of the Red Tornadoes. That's going to be a completion from Stellar to Belichick, well across the field into Tiger territory. And Dan, that reminded me of a Tim Tebow jump throw.
Yes, it did. I was just about to go there, because that run-pass option, he literally used all 3 options. Fake the run for himself, and then decided to pass it.
That time they're going to hand it to Bendis, and Bendis doesn't have anywhere to go. Nice play by the Tigers there. Again, it's number 1, Kime. We've talked about him a little bit from an offensive side, but he's getting his nose in there on defense as well. Yeah,
as you said, Bendis is a tough runner. He's not easy to take down, and just got stacked up there. Wouldn't really have too much room to work. But yeah, that Tim Tebow jump throw is that's kind of how Stellar is kind of built for this offense. He's a shorter, stockier kid, kind of a jump throw type guy. Might have trouble seeing over the line, but was able to really deliver a perfect ball on that play.
So Stellar this time he's going to hand it to Reedwood. Nope, is that Reed Witkoski? It looks to be. Nope, that's Bendis again. I'll check that.
Yep.
So he's across the 45, about the 44. We'll bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, another good run there by Bendis as we continue to talk about him. Really a awesome story. Just talking about Bendis. Coming off of his 2 knee injuries in his sophomore and junior year, coming back his senior year, and getting some touches and really making them count.
Yeah, and we talked about that last week, and I saw there was a follow-up. There was a nice article on Joe in the Daily Item.
Yep.
So that's always nice to see kids get some ink, especially a kid that's gone through as much as he has. And Stellar there does a nice job. He's going to roll out, and he's going to get that ball out to number 14.
I believe that's Garrett Verano.
Yes, indeed. So freshman out there getting some work, makes a nice catch. Would be a little short of the 1st down. We'll bring up 4th and 2. I think that's a tough spot for him. Looked like he did everything he needed to do on that one.
Yeah, I thought he did a really good job of kind of knowing where he was on the field, having that field presence, and getting him tiptoe down the sideline to pick up that first. But as you said, tough spot here, but looks like they're ready to just maybe give it to Bendis or let Stellar run with it.
We'll see exactly what they do. Stellar's going to take the snap, and he was going to give it to Bendis. He went for the hard count. There was a little movement. It looks like it was on the Red Tornado side, so that 4th and 2 is going to become a 4th and 7. Again, 9:14 and counting here left in this one. The Tigers on top of the Red Tornadoes, 41-0.
Yeah, and that's again, it's nice having these guys get out here, get to play in this, in front of this. We had a pretty raucous crowd here earlier in the game, and it's just a great atmosphere to play in. So some of these younger guys getting an opportunity to get out here and really learn about this great rivalry.
Stellar takes the snap, he rolls out, he makes a nice throw, and that's intercepted. That's going to be number 20. Number 20, we talked about him a little bit earlier. That's Nick Ziegler, and he took that one to the house. He saw that throw coming the whole way, and that winds up being about a 55-yard interception return for a touchdown, and the Tigers can't seem to do anything wrong tonight.
Yeah, Jim, we talked about that out route earlier. How, sometimes the only way you can defend it is kind of just let the guy catch the ball and make the tackle. That's the safe way to defend it. Really, if you want to get a little risky, and I guess with a big lead like this, you're able to do that, you can try and jump that route and come underneath it, as Ziegler just did, and was able to take it, as you said, a long way to the house.
And Haupt on to finish again, a lot of confusion on the Tiger sideline. A lot of guys had just kind of taken their helmets off and called it a night. And you kind of see this. And last year there were more than one or two occasions where this occurred to the Red Tornadoes too, as Mount Carmel's, especially towards the end of the season when they were going through some of their really big victories.
Yeah.
This is something that happens. You don't usually have backups on your special teams, and how drills that one too. So it'll be 48-0 for the Tigers.
Yeah, we'll see. Stellar coming back out on the offensive side. Sometimes, you know, it's always tough as a quarterback to throw an interception, but sometimes having it go back to the house and being able to get right back out on the field and put the ball in the air again is the best medicine for that. You got to have a short memory as a quarterback, so being able to get right back out on the field is almost a blessing.
Yeah, and give credit to the coaching staff, I think, for that, especially you talk about short memory. I mean, that happened last week. If you remember, Reisinger had the 2 interceptions in the first half, fairly early in the first half, and came back, and he had the long touchdown to Chapman. And then he kind of kept it together the rest of the game. He did a great job tonight. I mean, again, I think it's easy to look at the scoreboard and feel a certain way about the way this one turned out. But we probably sound like a broken record, Dan, but we keep talking about it. It's a 15-yard penalty against the Red Tornadoes there that I think we missed.
Yeah, I do believe we missed. I didn't see a flag or anything on the play there. So, guess as you said earlier, the people watching at home, you know, if you get a chance to rewind this and see where that happened, maybe shoot us a message, let us know, and we'll try and get it in there.
I think my wife's watching. Kel, can you shoot me a text here? Did you see what happened on that one? House going to drill that one through the end zone. It landed about 8 yards deep, so he's got a pretty good leg like we've seen all night. Again, 8:45 left in the fourth quarter. Tigers on top, 48-0. But we were saying, Dan, talk about just Reisinger and the evolution of him as a quarterback.
Yeah,
I think the results are, of course, not what you want, and nobody's saying that they are, but I don't know that I saw him make a bad decision tonight.
And that's really it's the maturity level. You know, sometimes it's not even. We always knew he had those intangibles. He's got the size. He's a big kid. He can handle the pressure. He's quick, and he has a great presence. Like, I don't know if you've ever stood in a room with Tommy. I had the privilege to coach him on some travel baseball teams and in high school baseball.
Here we go.
And as when I coached him in high school baseball, he was a freshman, and he was kind of thrown into some big games at the varsity level as a freshman and rose to the occasion. The kid, he has a lot of very good presence about him. You know, I mean, he's able to kind of, when he's in the room. So I think he, along with many of the other leaders on this Red Tornado team, have that ability. And I think it helps the fact that he's probably 6'2", 6'3". I think that helps, because you just see he's taller than everybody else. But he's done a really good job of leading this team. And as you said, maybe, wasn't able to put any points on the board tonight, but didn't make any bad decisions.
No, and Stellar does a great job. He's going to hand it off, and that's Bendis. And Bendis has a heck of a run. It's going to be about a 20-yard gain out to the 40-yard line after the drive starts at the 20 based on the touchback.
Yeah, Bendis, again, doing a really good job there. Just really running the ball tough. He's not going down easy. That's the one thing I've noticed about him, is he does not want to go down. He doesn't want to give that ball up.
Well, yeah, he's one of, and you often hear from athletes, Dan, that have had some of the sport taken away from them, that they appreciate it so much more. And Bendis is going to be out there. He's going to give you 100% all the time. The snap gets a little low, gets behind Stellar, so he's going to do everything he can and just fall on it. That'll take him back inside the 30 to the 29. So that'll wind up being a loss of about 11 and bring up 2nd and 21 now, as there's 7:48 left in this one.
Yeah, that's tough. Looks like Southern Columbia just cycling players on and off the field. It looks like every time I see, every time at the end of a play, they're bringing guys off the field and bringing guys back in. I mean, you look at Southern sideline compared to Mount Carmel's sideline. There's got to be 40 to 50 kids on the Southern Columbia sideline, and maybe 20 over there on the Red Tornado sideline. So that's tough. It's nice for the Tigers to have that ability to just cycle players in and out. It's tough for the Red Tornadoes. A lot of guys playing both ways over there.
Yeah, and I think give the Red Tornado faithful credit as well. I mean, it's gotten a little chillier tonight than maybe I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it's a 48-point game here with 7 minutes left and a running clock. As Stellar's pass sails high over the outstretched arms of Verano. But there's a lot of Red Tornado fans still here, Dan, and credit to them and credit to the organization as a whole. You know, you're always there when it's easy to only be there when it's convenient.
Right.
And that's never been the case with the Red Tornadoes.
Absolutely not. I think the Red Tornadoes have, and I guess I'm a little biased for, being a Red Tornado, but I would have to say we have the greatest fan base that I've ever seen for a high school sport. I mean, the things that go on during, before, during, and after.
Hold on, because Stellar just boomed this punt inside the Tiger 20. My goodness. So we'll see. So the ball was on the 29, and it's going to be 1st and 10 Tigers at the 16. So that's going to be about a 55-yard punt.
Yeah, and that thing had some hang time on it, too. He got that up there, and it didn't want to come down.
My goodness. And so that's the one thing about nights like tonight, and it's been true for the Tigers, again, given their victories over the last few years. And it's certainly true for the Red Tornadoes last year as well, is even in a situation like this, you get valuable playing time. There's valuable snaps out there for the next man up.
And I think a lot of this, too, if you want to talk about it, I know you mentioned it earlier on in the game, that this is the first time in a while that these are senior-laden teams. The starting 11, there's a lot of seniors on the fields for the Tigers and the Red Tornadoes. So really, if you think about this could be next year's team out there on the field. This could be next year's Mount Carmel Southern Columbia game. This could be a preview of it. Because a lot of these guys that are out there are going to be coming back next year and are going to be filling spots for those seniors that are graduating this year.
Yeah, again, there's always a silver lining, and that's what we're going to find tonight. And I think that's what Coach Darrow will find tonight, too. They'll look at the film and they'll see things that they don't like, is often the case. It doesn't matter. Coach Roth is going to find things he didn't like, too. That's just the nature of the thing.
Right.
But you find a lot of success. You find a lot of situations where, Reisinger did make the right read.
Yeah.
Or, you look at your freshmen between Nick Nestico and Matt Kelly. You know what? They did a great job in pass protection. You'll see a lot of that, and it'll be something to build on. Yeah,
no, as you said, that's the good thing about, kind of you go home tonight, the loss hurts. You go home tonight, you go to sleep, and you still wake up tomorrow morning. And you start to prepare for next week. And that's the great thing about taking this type of a loss. It's always tough to take this type of a loss, but I think it's good to take it early in the season, because you have to have a short memory. You got another team, Lewisburg, who is no slouch, coming up in 6 days.
Right.
It's a short week as well.
Sure.
So tomorrow, Coach Dare, I think this is one of those games where you might bury the film. He'll look at it himself. The coaches will look at it. But the players need to start focusing on Lewisburg.
That's a great point, Dan. You talk about Lewisburg. I mean, they have a running back by the name of Max Moyer who doesn't take a backseat to anybody. I think the weeks before Mount Carmel went to Lewisburg last year, he was putting up video game numbers. I think that was the game he had 400 yards or something crazy like that. So we'll see what that looks like. But, yeah, you're right. And there's positives and negatives. Of course, the negative to running into a juggernaut like the Tigers in Week 2 is that you start off on a high note with a big victory against the Blue Jays of Central Columbia, and then you're kind of brought back to earth a little bit today. But now, like we talked about, Red Tornadoes, they're favorite to get through. They'll be a favorite in just about every game they play for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And so they can make a run here.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, this is one of those This is one of the, as you said, you got to kind of find a silver lining in a game like this. You're getting valuable playing time for your youth.
Yeah, a big play there by number 66, Matt Chicatano. Again, talking about freshmen.
Yeah.
There's one of them.
Yeah, as you said, valuable playing time. And this is one of those games now, I don't want to, we said we weren't going to talk about the past too much, but just real quick, I remember we played in games like this. My senior year, we took a thumping from Southern Columbia my senior year. And you know what, Coach Carm, when we went to film session on Saturday, he said, you know what, we're not watching film. We're going to bury this tape. We're going to focus on the next week. And that's what we did. We moved on, and we ended up making a run after that.
And that's really all you can do. Like you said, you just move on to next week. And like you said, luckily at this stage of the season, there is a next week.
Right.
The next time these Red Tornadoes run in, if the Red Tornadoes run into the Tigers again, there won't be a next week.
Yeah.
Right. So that's where we are. And again, both of these teams will be more seasoned, of course. But I think for the Red Tornadoes, operating somewhat of a new offense. Right. Again, we talked about it earlier. This smash mouth spread where they're throwing it more. Tom Reisinger has more control over the offense. He's making more pre-snap reads, post-snap reads.
Yep.
He'll benefit immensely from another 9 or 10 weeks of these snaps as the Tigers hand it to Heim, and Heim now, he's almost got out. Steller is going to hang on to him and end up dragging him out of bounds. Again, 2 minutes left now in this one. The Tigers on top of the Red Tornadoes 48-0 here at Jim Roth Stadium.
Yeah, and as you said, just having, because I'm trying to think, if we do run into Southern Columbia again, last year it was week 13, I believe. So it would be 11 more weeks. Well, technically 10 more weeks and a week to prepare for with this offense. As you said, it's definitely tough going against a team that's been so successful running this same offense for so long in this, this wing T type of offense that Coach Roth runs here at Southern Columbia, and trying to do something new. It's tough, but I think with a lot more time under their belt doing it, they're going to be all right.
Yeah, and again, one thing, and we haven't really had a chance to talk about him a whole lot, and certainly number 2, Mike Blichik, he did a great job tonight on Fleming. He was really held in check. He had the interception. But, the Red Tornadoes, they're missing T.O.
Yeah, definitely missing Tyler Owens. As you said, a defensive back, a running back, another type change of pace guy. He's more of a slasher than Bendis and Widener. And he does bring that other dimension. He's also one of those guys like Burkowski. He can get on the outside and you can throw him the ball. So having T.O. back is going to be great as well. But as you said, Blichik doing a great job out there. You put Michael Blichik, which, speaking with Coach Dara in week 1 about Michael Blichik, he referred to him as a gamer. He said if you tell him to go and guard Julian, basically what he said is if you tell him to go and guard Julian Fleming, he's going to do it.
And he did.
And he did. And he, as you said, he did hold him in check.
Yeah, we'll be curious to see exactly what, the numbers look like. And again, Jose's down there. I can see him. He's got his paperwork in. But as we're looking at him, and also the clock is going to run out on this one. The teams are lining up again, so that'll do it here in Jim Roth Stadium in Elysburg, Pennsylvania, where the Southern Columbia area Tigers are going to defeat the visiting Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes 48-0 in what could again become a potential, there could be a potential rematch 11 weeks from now in the district championship game, and that would be the three-peat, right? That would be the third edition of that over the last 3 years. And again, we've said a lot over the last 15, 20 minutes of game time here, Dan, and a lot of it just comes down to the Red Tornadoes. While the scoreboard is not really what they're looking for, there were a lot of positives.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of positive things that you could take away from this game. The Red Tornadoes, as you said, they did a great job. Kind of one thing that, and I know it sounds bad. Like some people say, you just got to stay healthy at this point. But we saw Chapman go down there towards the end before the first team kind of came out. So be interested to monitor him. Looked like he was in there doing well, shaking hands and everything like that. So hopefully we'll have to monitor that. Hopefully he's able to come back next week. I believe T.O. is going to be back in the next week or two. So getting guys healthy, keeping guys healthy through this game. And as you said, a lot of positives. Joey Bendis ran the ball well. Noah Burkowski did a great job of catching the ball and getting after it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're right. We saw that again. And unfortunately, some of that is that some need to shine, you know, when others are kind of stifled a little bit. And they stifled Chapman a little bit with, again, Fleming. I don't think Chapman should hang his head about that at all.
Absolutely not.
But it gave the Red Tornadoes an opportunity to see a true number 2 receiver kind of develop. Last year, Chapman was the number 1, and they had Avery Demko as the number 2.
Right.
With Demko graduating, there were a couple guys that could fill the slot, and I think it's at least become somewhat clear that it's probably going to be Burkowski.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and I think because of this new throw the ball type offense that we're running, a lot of teams are going to key on Chapman just because of his size and because of what he did last year. So Burkowski's going to need to embrace that role and really start to get get some momentum as he did today. Did a great job going to get the ball.
Yep, so we'll see what happens. You have to check your papers tomorrow for some stats. Again, I know Jose did his due diligence, and he has them down there, and he's trying to get them up to us. I don't think we're going to quite get them. Had a little bit of service problems all night tonight, but we hope you've enjoyed it. I think this is probably where we'll call it a night again. This is WKMC TV. Just brought you the Southern Columbia area Tigers defeating the visiting Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes 48-0. I'm Jimmy Lesko for Jose Gonzalo.
I'm Dan Lesko.
Have a good night, and we will see you next Friday at the Silver Bowl.